So whilst my student's out on test, I thought I'd go for a ride on one of the geared bikes so that I can do a geared upload. So this is one of the Honda CB650Rs, provided to us by Virtue Honda Nottingham. Very lucky to be a Honda School of Motorcycling. They're very nice bikes to ride, very smooth. You can get up through the gears quite quickly on them. They're actually quite happy in 6th gear at 30 miles an hour. There's a rainbow over there, very pretty. So early mirrors, early brakes, down to about 18 miles an hour. My clutch is coming in. I'm coming down through the gears. I was in 4th, so I'm now coming down to 1st, and I'm down onto my rear brake. Nice and slow, which allows me to plan a really smooth controlled stop with a good distance back from the car in front. Lovely, just mirrors for moving off, because I was aware there wasn't anybody coming up behind me, through good mirror checks whilst I was stopped. Just get this visor down if it's going to rain on me. There was no need to indicate at the traffic lights as I was in a right turn only lane. There was no other traffic behind me who would have benefited from the indicator either. So early mirrors for the red traffic light, both brakes together but mostly front, squeezing the front to take the speed down. Once again, clutch comes in about 18-19 miles an hour, down through my gears, on the rear brake only, planning a nice, smooth, controlled stop. Keeping a good eye on my mirrors whilst I'm stationary. Little shoulder check to the left in case anybody sneaked up whilst I wasn't paying attention. So following the road straight ahead, planning ahead. There's a lorry in lane 1, so we're going to use lane 2. Hope we can make a bit of progress if these cars get on with it. Good, just hanging back until there's a gap for me to move into in front of the lorry, rather than putting myself into his blind spot and finding there's nowhere to go. Checking my mirrors, the car in front's braking. I think just out of impatience because the car in front of him's actually doing the speed limit. So I'm in 6th gear at 40 miles an hour on this bike, and it's perfectly happy to do that. Still quite powerful. Keep an eye on my right mirror, somebody's speeding in the right hand lane. Shoulder check, they've decided not to pass me, so fair enough. Holding my speed steady at 41 to 42, to try and keep the car off my backside without exceeding the speed limit, or allowing for a little bit of speedo variance. Again, keeping a good eye on my mirrors as the lanes are about to merge. I know there's nobody over my right shoulder because my mirror checks were good enough, so I didn't need a lifesaver then. But at direct access level, we would encourage you to do the lifesaver if your mirrors haven't been brilliant on the approach to merging lanes. Both mirrors, both brakes, squeezing the front with a little bit of rear, clutch in, down through the gears, easing off the front brake, all the way down into 1st gear, and finishing off nice and smoothly with the rear brake only. Keeping an eye on my mirrors whilst I'm stationary, for any vehicles that might be racing up to my backside. But also allowing me to keep an eye on what might be sneaking into my blind spot. Little check to the left, let's use the power. Holding it nice and steady at 42. I'm going to sit in position 3 at the moment. No oncoming traffic. It's a little bit of a dirt streak in position 2, so I may as well just keep myself over in 3. Not really a problem given that we've got this hatch lines between position 3 and the oncoming traffic. I'll move over to 1 a little bit, get more of the view as we come round the bend, however. Could have planned that one further ahead. Watching the cyclist on the left. There's a bin he's going to be likely to need to come around. So back to 3. Once I'm past the cyclist, I'm going to move back over to 1, just to gain the view. Checking my mirrors nice and regularly. Sometimes I don't think the camera picks up the mirror checks particularly well. Early mirrors, a little bit of brakes. Didn't actually need the brakes there, I'm just using the brakes to show the car behind that I intend to do the speed limit. Be a little bit tricky on these bikes to see this speedo because of where the GoPro sits on my chin mount, so every now and then my speed creeps a little bit. Early mirrors, making sure I stay to the left of the blue arrow, looking up the left hand side of the bin lorry. There's no oncoming traffic at the moment. I'm going to check it's safe, keep my speed down. And come around the bin lorry. Lovely. Mirrors again, let's see what the Audi's up to behind me. Scanning the junctions, all good at the moment. Position 2 to 3, mainly because of the junction on the left. Going to go back over to 1 to 2. To gain the view around the bend and further up the road. I'm in position 3 to gain the view, looking at the road surface. There was a bit of debris back there, but it was just leaves. Looking all the way up the road, scanning back to myself and then back to my mirrors. So again, position 3 at the moment isn't so hazardous with the oncoming traffic because of the hatch marking. Holding this position to get the view around the bend. Early mirrors, waiting to increase my speed until I'm through the signs, and then off we go. I was already in 5th, so I'm just making my way up into 6th gear. 40 miles an hour. Position 1 for the right hand bend. Keeping an eye out for any near side hazards like driveway entrances. Early mirrors for the change of speed limit in case the car behind is getting itchy. I was going to say itchy feet, I should say itchy tyres. Nice and positive up to 52. Over to position 2. I'm going to hold position 2 for now. This is quite a wide road, so I don't want to use 1 at the moment. I'd go into 1 if there was any heavy goods vehicles coming towards me. There is now, so I'm going to wait a little bit, move over to 1 in case there's a car looking for an overtake. In fact, the lorry's wandering in his lane a little bit there. Mirrors, and back to 2. Back to 1, make sure this car can see me without inviting him to come past the lorry towards me. Mirrors, and 2. A little bit of bad surface there, but nothing enough for me to worry about. Mirrors, just rolling off my throttle for the decrease in speed limit. No need to use the brakes there, the car behind was far enough back. Holding position 2, bad surface to the left and the right, so I'm just going to use the good surface. Also equalising the danger between the parked vehicles and the oncoming traffic. Nice regular mirrors. I'm going to be checking my mirrors again before I slow down for the roundabout. Easing off the throttle. Both brakes, but mostly front. Squeezing that front brake lever. Clutch is coming in. 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd. Because of the car approaching the junction. Holding my position just in case this Audi's pushy. Watching the cars on the left and a right check to make sure they're going where I think they're going. Trying not to get too close to the VW. It's a little bit wide on my exit from the roundabout there. Mirrors because he's braking. Watching the cars around as well. Mirrors again. Back up to the speed limit. 32. Hold it steady. Moving into position 1 to gain a good view around the right hand bend. Can now see a national speed limit sign in the distance, so early mirror checks in case there's anybody eager for an overtake behind me. Just avoiding a bit of bad surface there. Back to position 1. Early mirrors. Now let's go. Over to 3. Moving back to 2 nice and early away from the blue car. Back to 3 with some mirror checks. Looking all the way around the bend. Over to 2. Don't need to use 1 at the moment. I'm just going to straight line the bend a little bit. No oncoming traffic. Holding 3. Looking at the bus. There might be vehicles looking for an overtake. Checking my mirrors just in case it happens. Over to 2. Over to 1. Watching the junction on the left. Back to 2. And then back up to 60. Just reduce my speed just a little bit there. Mirrors. Just holding position 2 for the oncoming traffic. Mirrors again. Over to position 1. Ready for the right hand bend. Watching the junction on the left. Over to 3. Or not 3. Checking my mirrors. Position 3. Mirrors again. This car's not doing the speed limit, so I'm just going to drop back a little bit. Make sure I don't get too close and start crowding him. Position 3. Can't see any junctions, but I can see a change of speed limit ahead. Can't really overtake just before I change the speed limit, because I'd be thundering into the 40 at probably 60 at that point, even though he indicated to let me pass. Checking my mirrors, both brakes, squeezing the front, down a couple of gears. I was in 6th, I'm now in 4th. Mirrors again, expecting him to turn, back on the power. Over to 3, back to 2 for the oncoming. Try not to exceed the speed limit. Back to 3. Gonna hold 3. Gonna be moving in, ready for the oncoming. So a mirror check. Holding position 2. Mirrors. Easing off the throttle. Nobody behind. No need to use my brakes. Timing it so that I'm at 32 as I pass through the signs. Looking all the way up the road. There's no oncoming traffic that I can see at the moment. There might be a hidden junction. No, we're good. There is a junction now, so I'm just going to equalise the danger between the left and the right. Still straight lining these a little bit more than you would normally if there was oncoming traffic. But the road is nice and clear. Nice regular mirrors. Looking up to the top of the hill. See, it's a right hand bend, so I'm going to prepare to move into position 1. Watching for any junctions on the left. There's no junctions, so we are good. Holding position 3. Quite a bad surface on this road, so I'm just going to go a little bit wide there because I happen to know that's quite a big hole. We've recently changed the speed limit as well. This used to be a 50. Now it's a 40. Lovely open bit of countryside. Obviously people have been stupid and had accidents on this road. Early mirrors. Waiting to increase the speed until I'm through the speed limit signs, and off we go, holding position 1 because I can see the hedge line is running round to the right. Over to 3, mirrors, back over to 2, back to 3, looking all the way around the bend, holding my speed steady, coming over to 1 nice and early, watching the entrance on the left, still holding 1, watching the entrance, we're good. Still 1, gaining the view around the bend. Over to 3, nice and early, being prepared to move in if I see any oncoming traffic, so back to 2. Over to 3, because the view is opening up, which makes it safe to move back out. 3 to 1, with a mirror check. Opening the throttle against the hill to keep my speed nice and steady. Over to 3, that was a little bit late, that one. Lovely, back to 2, back to 1. Watching the junction signs, so trying to work out which side the junctions are. There's one on the left, one on the right. Holding position 1, I can see it's going to be a little bit bumpy. Reducing my speed just a touch because I can't get a view of the junction. Now I'm happy I've got the view, I can increase my speed. Back to position 1, got a good view of this junction, looking all the way around the bend. Over to 3, mirrors, bit of bad surface in 3, so back to 2 and then back to 3 when it's good again. Mirrors again, mindful that there's a bus on the left, he might pop his indicator on. Plus I also wasn't in his mirror until quite late then. Position 2, 3 because there's no oncoming traffic. Looking at the road surface. Gonna go to 2.5. Don't often use halves. Holding it steady in 3, looking all the way around the bend. Over to 2 to 1, just in case there's a car looking for an overtake. Quite bad surface there that I couldn't see until it was too late. Early mirrors, early brakes, downhill, so I do need the brakes. Down a couple of gears, 32 miles an hour, 4th gear, checking my mirrors again. Holding position 2. Lovely. Mirrors. And we're in the pretty town of Southwell, or Southwell, if you're a local. Mirrors. Mirrors again, going to be turning left. Brakes, clutch, gears, rear brake, anticipating having to stop. Looking left, looking right, we are good to go. Indicator off and mirrors. Let's watch what's going on ahead. No need to push through here, can use the gap. Lovely. Equalise the danger. Lovely, I'm in 3rd gear, but I can see I need to slow down, so mirrors and brakes. Down to 2nd. Can use 2nd, sure to check, because I didn't check my mirrors enough there to be sure there was nothing there. Equalising the danger between the left and the right, mirrors as I'm coming through. All the way over to position 1, watching the junction on the left. Mirrors. And then back to position 2. Over to 3 to equalise. Holding it nice and steady at 32 miles an hour in 4th gear. Mindful of the dog on the left. Sometimes these bikes can scare dogs, they're quite noisy. Looking all the way around the bend. Move over to 1 after the bad surface. Then back over to 3 to gain the view. See the road's been patched here a little bit. Sometimes the patches aren't that smooth. Early mirrors for the change of speed limits. Mirrors again as the car behind was getting a little closer. I was just checking that he's not actually getting too close. 5th gear at the moment. 6th gear. Position 1. Mirrors back to 2 because of the junction. Over to 3, planning ahead. Holding 3. Over to 1. 3. It's quite a nice road, this one. Try not to get too close to the cars in front. Mirrors over to 1. Watching the bad surface. Holding 1. Over to 3. Chevrons ahead. Cars are reducing their speed a little bit, so just easing off the throttle and down into 5th gear. Good, nice view as I come around that bend, so position 3 is fine. Over to 1, holding 1, and I'm back into 6th gear. Checking my mirrors between the bends nice and regularly. Back to 2 because I lost the view past that little hump of verge on the left. So when the verge is sticking out and interrupts your view of the tarmac, it's wiser to move away so you gain the view of the full tarmac in case it's hiding a junction or an entrance where there could be somebody creeping out on you. Over to 3. Keeping a good distance back from these cars. They're doing 45, 46, 47, so they're doing good speeds. No need to get too close. Also enables me to be smoother. If I get too close, you're on the throttle, off the throttle, on the throttle, off the throttle. I hate it. I'd much rather drop back, keep the speed changes really smooth. I'm watching the driveway on the left, so just moving back to position 2 and then over to 3. It's also really tempting just to look at the cars in front rather than looking up the road beyond the cars. I saw the rooftop of a car come round the bend then, so I'm going to start to move back into 2, but not 1 because it looks like there's an entrance on the left. Holding position with nice regular mirrors. Over to 1. Warning sign of a junction on the right. Checking my mirrors. Mirrors again. Back to position 2 to 3. Oncoming traffic. So preparing to move in. Mirrors. Mirrors again. Reading the line of the hedge, I'm going to want position 1, just watching the entrances on the left. Mirrors just before the bend, looking all the way around the bend and in front of the silver car. Holding position 1 for now, still gaining the view around the next right hand bend, but watching the driveways on the left. Over to position 3 nice and early. Can even cut the corner off this one. Mirrors. Over to position 1 to gain the view. Warning sign. Road's narrowing. Position 3. Also says slow on the road, so I wonder if the bends are going to be a little tighter. There's your warning sign for the tighter bends and the gradient. Position 2 for the oncoming traffic. Mirrors. Over to position 1. I'm going to drop my gear down to 5th. That was just through deceleration. Mirrors. In 5th at the moment, I've still got quite a lot of engine braking, so if I roll off the throttle, it's still slowing the bike down quite significantly. I'm going to use a little bit of brakes, come down into fourth, holding position 3, 2, 1, watching the surface. Back up into fifth as I can hear the revs increasing, over to position 3, 6th, as I can see the gradients evening out, so I don't need the engine braking so much. Still checking my mirrors nice and regularly. Back to position 2 for the oncoming traffic. Looking over the top of the silver car, over the top of the hedges. Over to position 3. Holding 3. Checking my mirrors. Still trying to look over the top of the hedges. Couldn't really get the view there, so I'm just reducing my speed a little bit as we come into the darker shaded area. Still holding 3. And mirrors again. Cars are braking, so just easing off my throttle. There's nobody behind, no need for brake lights. Bad surface, so I'm going to use 2. Mirrors 3. 2. 1. Minding the drain cover and the gravel. Position 2 for the oncoming. Mirrors coming up to a giveaway, so early mirrors in case these cars start to slow down really early. Little bit of brakes. 5th gear. 4th gear. Clutch is coming in now. Mirrors again. Whoops, nobody around. Should probably pop an indicator on for those cars. Okay to go. Mirrors again. Brake lights ahead for the tight bends. I'm going to pop into the pub, turn around, come back out again.